शक्तिमाया नमोस्तुते। नमस्ते गौरवाणी श्रीमूर्तये दीनतारिणे रूपानुगा विरुद्धाप सिद्धान्तद्वान्तहारिणे नमो गौरकिशोराय साक्षाद्वैराग्यमूर्तये प्रलम्बारसाम्बोधे पादाम्बुजायते नमः। नमो भक्तिविनोदाय सच्चिदानन्दनामिने गौरशक्ति स्वरूपाय रूपानुगाभरायते गौराविर्भावभूमेस्त्वं निर्देष्टा सज्जनप्रियः वैष्णवः सार्वभौम श्री जगन्नाथाय ते नमः। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्विषये नमः। पंचतत्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकं। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिन्धौ दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते। जयतां सुरतोर्पङ्गुर् मामन्दमतेर्गति मत्सर्वस्वापदाम्बोजो राधामदनमोहनो दिव्यदृन्दारण्यकल्पद्रुमादः श्रीमद्रत्नागारसिंहासनस्थो श्रीमद्राधा श्रीलगोविन्ददेवो पृष्ट्वालिविसेव्यमानौ स्मरामि। श्रीमान् रासरसारम्भे वंशीवटतटस्थितः कर्षं वेणोसनेर्गोपीर् गोपीनाथः श्रीयस्तुनः तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। So yesterday we discussed the 20th chapter where Brahma, he comes and tells Prithu Maharaj that what is the use of this sacrifice for you? Not required. Because you are on the path of liberation. Then Prithu Maharaj just gave it up. Then everybody was so happy, and all the demigods, everybody came there, he gave charity, they were very happy. At that time, the Supreme Lord appears along with Indra. He brings Indra. He told Indra, don't worry, come along with me. So that is how this starts, this chapter starts, where Prithu Maharaj glorifies the Lord after the Lord instructed Prithu Maharaj. Maitreya Uvacha. Bhagavan api vaikuntaha saksham bhagavata vibho saksham bhagavata. Where is that? 21st verse. Which verse we are doing? Sorry. Yeah. Sakshan Bhagavata Vibhu Yajne Yajnavatistushto Yajnabhuttamabhashata. So Bhagavan Abhashata, the Supreme Lord, who is being described here as what? Yajna Patihi Yajna Bhuk. The Supreme Lord is Yajnapati. He is the Lord of sacrifice. And Yajna Bhuk, while enjoyer of sacrifice, he appeared along with Indra. Bhagavan api vaikuntaha sakshan bhagavata vibhuhu. So he is Sakshan Maghavata means taking Indra along with Indra. Sakham, Bhagavata Vibhu, the Lord appeared there in the sacrifice arena. Then he starts speaking to um, Ritu Maharaj. Bhagavan Uvacha. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. Eshate karshid bhangam hayameda shatasya Shamapayata Atmanam Amushyaaksham Tumarhasi. Now Krishna told Prithu Maharaj, you see this person, who is he? Here is Indra. This is his person, Hayameda Shatayaha Bhangan. The person who stopped or created some problem in the horse sacrifice of yours, 100th one, it is person. Now what we should do? Shamapayata Atmanam Amushya Shantumarhasi. You should forgive him. Why? Why? Why you should forgive him? Because Shamapayata Atmanam Shamapayatah Kshantum. He is asking forgiveness from you, so you should forgive. See, committing a crime or a mistake is not such a big problem. Committing a mistake is not a mistake. But after committing a mistake, not asking forgiveness is the real mistake. Bigger mistake, the biggest mistake is after somebody asks forgiveness, not forgiving. That is the highest mistake. Mistake is not a mistake. Not begging forgiveness is the bigger mistake. And the biggest mistake is not forgiving in spite of the person being asking for forgiveness. When Sugriva and Lord Ram met, Lord Ram heard the story. Sugriva, why are you in distress? Why are you hiding in this mountain, Rishishringa Parvata? He went on, he told the story that I was waiting outside the cave. Blood came out. My mother did not come. I thought he must have died. So I just put the rock and then came. And I was there ruling the kingdom along with the wife of Bali. So then all of a sudden, Bali appears. And then we were all shocked. Then he wanted to kill me. I begged forgiveness from him. I cried at his feet, held his feet, but still he wanted to kill me. Then Ram asked, did you ask forgiveness? Yes, I asked forgiveness. Did he not forgive you? No, he did not forgive me. Then Ram told, don't worry, I'll take care of him. So if somebody asks forgiveness, and if you don't forgive, that is a bigger crime. The biggest crime. Read the purport.
In this verse, the word Atmanam is very significant. It is a custom among ladies and gents to address one another, or even an ordinary man as oneself. For a transcendentalist never accepts a living being to the body. Since the individual self is a part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the self and the super self are qualitatively non-different. As the next verse will explain, the body is only a superficial covering, and consequently, an advanced transcendentalist will not make a distinction between oneself and another.
So now, the Lord goes on instructing Prithu Maharaj on how he should act on the transcendental platform. Sudihya sadavo loke naradeva narottama na vedrunti bhutebhyo yarhi natma kalevaram. Sudihya, Sudhi. One who is Sudhi means one who has got good intelligence, most intelligent person. Sadvaha loke naradeva narottama. Narottama, those who are good intelligence, having good intelligence, the best of humans, what is their attitude? Na avidruhyanti bhutebhyo. They don't harm other living entities. Why? Yarhinatma kalevaram. Because they know that they are not the bodies, but they are spirit soul. And they know that the bodies are not the soul. Na atma kalevaram. Kalevaram na atma. The body is not the soul. They are beyond this dehatma buddhi. That is why they don't harm. For example, somebody becomes very angry on a person because that person has harmed him. And he thinks, I should also harm the other person. A person who has knowledge that the body is not the self, then he knows he did not harm me because he harmed only my body. Even if I have to harm him, I cannot harm him because I can only harm the body, not the person. So this is how an intelligent person is not disturbed. How can anybody harm you? What to speak of harm you? Can anybody kill you? न जायते म्रियते वा कदाचित नायं भूत्वा भविता वा न भूयः अजो नित्य शाश्वतो पुराणो नान्यते अन्यमाने शरीरे. You can kill the body, you cannot kill me. Isn't it? It's not possible. Sudihya sadhavo loke naradeva narottama na abhidruhyanti bhutebhyo yarhinatma kalevaram. Because yarhi means because of that, yarhi, because na atma kalevaram. Read the purport.
But when a man commits murder, he is excused even by a high court judge. The idea is that a living entity is always poor because he is part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. When he falls into the clutches of material energy, he becomes victim of the three moods of material nature. Indeed, whatever he does under the influence of material nature. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, न कर्तृत्वं न कर्माणि लोकस्य सेवति प्रभु न कर्मफल संयोगं स्वभावस्तु प्रवर्तते. The embodied spirit, master of the city of his body, does not create activities, nor does he induce people to act, nor does he create the fruits of action. All this is enacted by the modes of material nature. Actually, the living entity or soul does not do anything. Everything is done under the influence of the modes of material nature. When a man is diseased, the symptoms of disease become a source of all kinds of pain. Those who are advanced in transcendental consciousness or Krishna consciousness are never envious, neither of the soul nor of the activities of the soul are under the influence of material nature. Advanced transcendentalists are called Sudhya. Sudhi means intelligence. Sudhi means highly advanced. And Sudhi means devotee. When this big devotee and intelligence does not take action against the soul and the body. If there is any discrepancy, he forgives. It is said that forgiveness is the quality of those who are advancing in spiritual knowledge.
Okay. Next. Purusha yadimuhyante twadrisha deva mayaya dharmaeva baram jato dirgaya vriddha sevaya adakayam mimam dirgha sevaya. Next. Now, in this verse, Lord is saying, if a personality like you, Twadrisha, Purusha yadi muhyanti. Purusha Tadrisha. Tadrisha means a person like you who is equal to you. Yadi muhyanti, if you are bewildered. And what is the speciality of yours? Sharmaeva paramjato dirgaya vriddha sevaya. Your dirgaya vriddha sevaya. You have served Vriddha, means the elders, the previous acharyas, and you have very much advanced because of executing instruction of the previous acharyas. And if you are carried away by the influence of material energy, that is Mayaya, Deva Mayaya, then all your advancement will consider simply waste of time. Dirgha Vruddha Sevaya, Purusha Yadi Muhyanti, Tadrishat Devamaya, Shrama Evahi Param Jato. He's trying to tell Bhrita Maharaj that if you are also bewildered by not forgiving Indra, you are going to be bewildered. Bewildered by Maya, then all the great things you have done in your life, like serving the elders, Raja, everything becomes Shrama, useless. So the result of all your great activities should be manifest by this quality of Shama. If you don't manifest the quality of Shama, then what is the use of having all this, doing all these big activities in your life? There's no point. Everything becomes Shramayevahi Kevalam. Read the purport. Fourth was purport.
In this verse, where Vedic Lagaya is very significant. Vidya means old. Sarva means by service. Perfect knowledge is acquired from the acharyas or liberated souls. No one can be perfect in knowledge without trained in the parampara system. Mr. Maharaj was completely trained in that line. Therefore, he did not deserve to be considered as an ordinary man. An ordinary man who has only one conception of bodily existence is always bewildered by the modes of material nature.
Next. Adakayam mimam vidvan avidya kama karmavi arabdhaiti naivasmin pratibuddho nusajjate. Atha kayam imam vidvan avidya kama karmavihi. For such a person who are bewildered by Maya, what they think, ataha kayam imam vidvan. They think this body is me. I am this body. This body is composed of signs. So what they do? Avidya kama karma bihi. They perform kama karma bihi, that is actions based on desire for sense enjoyment because of ignorance. Avidya kama arabdhai vinaivasmin arabdhaiti na evasmin pratibuddha anusajjate. On the other hand, the man who is in knowledge, he is not bewildered by anything, does not become addicted to the body. So you are a person in knowledge, so you should not be bewildered. Anusajjate becomes agitated. Asmin pratilabdha na eva asmin anusajjate. Who is that person who is not bewildered? One who has knowledge. On the other hand, one who doesn't have knowledge, they don't do kshama, they don't forgive, and they are always into avidya kama karma bihi. That is the difference. Read the purport.
As stated in a previous verse, those with good intellect shuddhiya, do not accept themselves to be the body. Being a creation of nations, the body has two types of activities. In the bodily conception, when we think that sense gratification will help us, we are in illusion. Another kind of illusion is to think that one will become happy by trying to satisfy the desires that arise from the illusory body, or by attaining elevation to the higher planetary systems, or by performing various types of Vedic rituals. This is all illusion. Similarly, material activities performed for political emancipation and social and humanitarian activities performed with an idea that people of the world will be happy are all illusory because the basic principle is the bodily conception, which is illusory. Whatever we desire or perform under the bodily conception is all illusion. In other words, Lord Vishnu informed Pritama writes that although the sacrificial performances set an example for ordinary people, there was no need for such sacrificial performances as far as his personal self was concerned. As confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, Traigunya Vishaya Veda Nistraigunya Bhavarjana Nirvandhu Nitya Sattvastu Yoga Ksheman Atman. The Vedas mainly deal with subject of three modes of material nature. Rise above these modes, O Arjuna. Be transcendental to all of them. Be free from all dualities and from all anxieties for gain and safety, and be established in the self. The ritualistic performances recommended in the Vedas mainly depend on the three modes of material nature. Consequently, Arjuna was advised to transcend the Vedic activities. The activities Arjuna was advised to perform were the transcendental activities of devotional service.
Next, sixth verse. Asangsakta sharirasmin anuno anunotpadite grihe avatye dravine vapi kaha kuryan mamatam buddha kaha kuryan mamatam buddha. Asamshakta sharirasmin, one who is unattached to body, sharirasmin. One, a wise person is unattached to the body, will have no attachment for other things related to the body. What are those things? House and what else? Griha, apatye means children, dravine, three things. Your house is connected to what? Body only. Children are connected to body, and the money is also connected to body. If you are not having attachment to the body, then you will not have attachment to things. Kaha kuryan mamatam buddha. Kaha, where is that attachment for all these things? So don't try to detach from yourself from house, money, and all. Detach yourself from body. As long as you think that I am a Vairagi, I am a sannyasi, you will never be detached from the bodily things because you are still attached to your body thinking that I am a sannyasi. But actually, the moment you develop detachment for the body and all the things which are associated with the body also have no meaning for you in your life. Read the purport.
The Vedic ritualistic ceremonies are certainly meant to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu. However, by such activities, one does not factually satisfy the Lord. Rather, with the sanction of the Lord, one tries to satisfy one's own senses. In other words, materialists who are especially interested in sense gratification are given permission and license to enjoy sense gratification by executing the Vedic ritualistic ceremonies. This is called Traigunya Vishya Veda. The Vedic performances are based on the three modes of material nature. Those who are elevated above the material condition are not at all interested in such Vedic performances. Rather, they are interested in the higher duties of transcendental loving service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Such devotional service is called Nistraigunya. Devotional service to the Lord has nothing to do with the material conception of bodily comfort. Can you please elaborate? Just now you were telling that somebody attached to the fact that I'm Yogagi and that will also lead to attachment.
That is why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, what does he say? Naham mipro na chanarapate napi vaishyo no shudro naham marni grihapati vanasto yatirva intu prodhyam nikala paramananda purnamrita abde gopi partyub padakamalayor dasa dasa anudasa. And also our Ramanand Rai, he rejected Sarvadharman Parityaja as a as a goal of life, as prayojana. Because still I have renounced. What you renounced? My house I have renounced. It was my house, nice house it was. Just I gave it up. It's another way of saying you're driven out of the house. It's a nice way of saying I was driven out of the house. As a big post, I've seen big things in my life. I just resigned. Actually, he was made to resign because he was not performing. He was forced to resign. And now he cannot tell like that. What he says? I just resigned. This is another attachment. Okay, next. Ekashuddhasvayam jyotir nirgunoso gunashraya sarvagona sakshi niratmanatmana para. Ekashuddha swayam jyotir nirgunoso gunashraya sarvagona sakshi niratmanatmana paraha. There is one Paramatma. What are the qualities of Paramatma here? Shuddha, number 1. 2, Swayam Jyotihi. Number 3, Nirgunaha, Gunashrayaha, Sarvagataha, Sarvago means Sarvagataha, and Anavrataha, uncovered by matter, Sakshi, then Niratma Paraha. Niratma means independent of others, and also Atmatmana Paraha, it is different from body and mind. 9 points are there, 9. Got it? Got these 9 points? So the Lord is describing his Paramatma feature, and then he is teaching about the knowledge of Paramatma. So we'll talk about all this, each one thing, but first finish the purport, then we'll talk about it.
First, 2 significant words are used. Asamsakta, meaning without attachment, and Buddha means meaning fully cognizant of everything. By full cognizance, it is meant that one should know about his own constitutional position as well as the position of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. According to Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, in this verse, Lord Vishnu is describing himself or the Paramatma. The Paramatma is always distinguished from the embodied soul as well as the material world. Therefore, he has been described as Para. That Para or Supreme Personality of Godhead is Eka, meaning one. The Lord is one, whereas the conditioned souls embodied within the material world exist in many varieties of form. There are demigods, human beings, animals, trees, birds, bees, and so forth. Thus, the living entities are not Eka but many, as confirmed in the Vedas. Nityo Nityanam Chetana Chetananam. The living entities who are many and who are entangled in this material world are not pure. However, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is pure and detailed. Due to being covered by the material body, the living entities are not self-effulgent, but the Supreme Personality of Godhead Paramatma is self-effulgent. The living entities being contaminated by the modes of material nature are called saguna, Whereas Paramatma, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is Nirguna, not being under the influence of the material modes. The living entities being engaged in material qualities are Gunasrita, whereas the Supreme Personality of Godhead is Gunasraya. The conditioned soul's vision is covered by material contamination. The Therefore, they cannot see the cause of his action. Therefore, he cannot see the cause of his action and he cannot see his past lives. The Supreme Personality of God had not been covered by material body is the witness of all the activities of the living entity. But both of them, the living entity and the Paramatma, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, are Atma or Spirit. They are one in quality, yet they are different in so many ways, especially in regard to the six opulences of the Supreme Personality of Godhead has in full. Full knowledge means that the Jivatma, the living entity, must know both his position and the Supreme's position. That is full knowledge.
So what is knowledge? To know the distinction between matter, spirit, and controller. That's called knowledge. The distinction between the Supreme Lord and the living entity is spoken here. 9 distinctions are there. Next. Ya evam sandamatmanam atmastam veda purushah najyadeva kritistopi tadgunai samai stitah. Ya evam santam atmanam atmastam veda purushah. Veda Purushaha means Atmastam, one who knows, that person, one who knows. Paramatma is Atmastam in your body. At the same time, na ajayate prakritistopi. Though he is situated in the body, he is not affected by tad gunaihi samayi stitaha. Since he is situated in mayi stitaha, since he is situated in me. So now it is talking about a person who knows about Paramatma. Paramatma is situated in the self. Though he is in the body, he is not affected by the body. He is not affected by the gunas because he has the knowledge of Paramatma. That means anybody who has knowledge of Paramatma, he is not affected by the modes of nature. Tadgunai samai stitaha. Prakritistopi, even though he is in the body, na jayate. Why? Because mai stitaha, because he is conscious of me. So one who knows Paramatma, though this person is embodied, is not affected by the tribulations of the body. That's the meaning of this verse. Read the purport.
When the Supreme Personality of Godhead appears in this material world, he is not affected by the modes of material nature. Similarly, those who are always connected with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, even though they be within the material body or the material world, are not affected by the material qualities. That is explained very nicely in Bhagavad Gita 14:26. Mam chayoga vicharena bhakti yogena sevate saguna samatitaitam jnana bhunyaya kalpate. One who is unflinchingly engaged in the devotional service of the Lord surpasses the material qualities and attains Brahman realization. In this connection, Srila Rupa Goswami says that if a person is always engaged in the service of the Lord with his body, words, and mind, he is to be considered liberated, although living in the material world. So one question is there.
Yeah.
Now, it appears that in 19th chapter, Brahmaji came and he pacified
Prithu Maharaj. And this chapter starts with Lord Vishnu came and brought Indra also. And he started kind of a slight chastising, like you are bodily conscious. Prithu Maharaj is speaking to Prithu Maharaj.
No, he is trying to glorify Prithu Maharaj.
Oh.
How is he glorifying Prithu Maharaj? That for a person who has realized a soul like you, he should forgive him, na? Like that. It is not that, like for example, a a devotee, somebody offended a devotee. Now take it. Now here, Indra offended Prithu Maharaj, okay? Now a senior devotee would come and tell the devotee, saying that, "Kar do na, maaf kar do." It is not that he is criticizing, actually is glorifying. For a person like you, why these insignificant things? So in the same way, he is advising the person who is offended, you don't know how glorious is he.
In both ways, he's saying.
In both ways. So Krishna know how to deal with both. If you go to an extreme example, 6th canto, Krishna told Indra, you want to save yourself? Go and take the backbone of Dadichi and make Vajrayuda, kill Vrittasura. Now just imagine, if you see from a very gross point of view, the Supreme Lord instigated Indra to kill Dadichi, who is such an exalted person. But actually, this is the gross intelligence. Subtle intelligence shows that Indra had threatened Dadichi. If you give this Hayashirsha Vidya, Brahma Vidya, to Ashwini Kumaras, I'll cut off your head. Indra threatened Dadichi. I'll kill you. Like Krishna knew Indra did this. Now when Uttasura came, it became such a big problem for Indra. Indra came to there. Krishna told you, see, I cannot do anything now. There's only one way. There's only one thing which can kill him, that is Vajrayuda, and that has to be made from the backbone of the Dadichi. And you go to Dadichi, he'll give you. Now, if Indra has to go and beg from the person whom he has threatened, and beg what? Give a backbone. To give backbone, he has to give up his life. Then he told, how can I give up my life? Then Indra starts glorifying Dadichi. Then he told, okay, take it. I am not attached to this body. So in this way, Krishna is showing to the entire world through Indra that how exalted is Dadichi. And he also made Indra glorify Dadichi, whom Indra had threatened. So he has different ways of teaching those who are his devotees but offenders. Scolding and knowledge is given to the person whom is very dear to you. You scold a person, you give knowledge to whom? In a childhood, when two children they fight and they have a quarrel, and both of them, I always used to wonder why it is so like that. When children used to go play, one child would come along with me and would complain to my mother. No, he did me, he beat me like this, he did also. Actually, he beat me, I did not beat him. But my mother would get angry on me, scold me, and then beat me also. And she would loud, beta, bahut acha beta, then listen. I was wondering, in spite of knowing that boy is mischievous, and it is he who is a culprit, what kind of justice is this? Allowed him, and then chastised me, beat me, scolded me, and sent him. Why she scolded me? Because she loves me. Knowledge, and then after ego, then give knowledge. You see, I told you before only, don't get into a bad association. Don't have bad friends. So knowledge was given, scolding was given. Even if you consider this scolding, it is given to whom? Generally, whom you love. So when you are receiving knowledge and scolding, it shows the person who is giving you the scolding and knowledge actually loves you. Not it? Next. यः स्वधर्मेण मां नित्यं निराशेषद्धयान्वितः भजते शनकैस्तस्य मनोराजन् प्रसीदति. ओ राजन, ओ किंग, यः स्वधर्मेण मां नित्यं निराशीः श्रद्धयान्विता. Nirashi means one who has no material desires. Shraddhayanvita bhajate, worship me regularly with faith. How? Swadharmena, through his performance of duties. What happens to him? Manorajan prasidati, gradually develops a satisfied mind. So, after knowing that I am not this body, I am spirit soul, then that has to lead to somewhere. That is bhajan, bhakti. So, a glimpse of bhakti is being described in this particular verse. That means worshipping Krishna by Swadharma. Vishnu Purana talks about it. Varnashrama, Samacharvata, Purushena Puman, Vishnuradhyate Panta, Nanyat Tattosha Karan. Okay. Read the purport.
This verse is also confirmed by the Vishnu Purana. Occupational duties are known as Varnashram Dharma and apply to the four divisions of material and spiritual life, namely Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya and Sudra, and Brahmacharya, Grihastha, Vanaprastha and Sannyas. If one works according to the Varnashram Dharma system and does not desire fruitive results, he gets satisfaction gradually. Discharging one's occupational duty as a means of rendering devotional service unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the ultimate goal of life. Bhagavad Gita confirms this as the process of Karma Yoga. In other words, we should act only for the satisfaction and service of the Lord. Otherwise, we will be entangled by the resultant actions. Everyone is situated in his occupational duty, but the purpose of material occupation should not be material gain. Rather, everyone should offer the results of his occupational activities. A Brahmana especially should execute his occupational duties not for material gain, but to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Kshatriya, Vaishya and Sudra should work in a similar way. In this material world, everyone is engaged in various professional and occupational duties. But the purpose of such activities should be to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Devotional service is very simple and anyone can adopt it. Let one remain what he is. He need only install the deity of the Supreme Lord in his house. The deity may be Radha Krishna or Lakshmi Narayan. There are many other forms of the Lord. In this way, a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya or Sudra can worship the deity with the results of his honest labor. Regardless of one's occupational duty, one should adopt the devotional means of hearing, chanting, remembering, worshipping, offering everything to the Lord and engaging in His service. In this way, one can very easily engage himself in the service of the Lord. When the Lord is pleased with one's service, one's mission in life is fulfilled.
Next. Parityakta guna samyak darshano vishadashaya sati me samavasthanam brahma kaivalyamashnute. Shantim me samavasthanam brahma kaivalyamashnute. Parityakta guna samyak. Parityakta means when one gives up, dissociates with material nature, samyak darshanaha. What does he attain? Samyak darshana. He have equal vision. Vishadashaya. Vishada ashaya means one has a pure mind. And what does he attain? Shantim me Brahma Kaivalyam Ashnute. So such a person who is very much into the practice of raising Paramatma, so what does he attain? He attains peace. That is what is described in this particular verse. He attains peace. He doesn't attain Ananda, but he attains peace. Paramatma realization is spoken here. So read the purport.
The Mayavad conception of Kaivalya and that of the Vaishnava community is different. The Mayavadi thinks that as soon as one is free from all material contamination, he is merged into the existence of the Supreme. The Vaishnava philosopher's conception of Kaivalya is different. He understands both his position and the position of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In the uncontaminated condition, the living entity understands that he is the eternal survivor of the Supreme, and that is called Brahman realization, the spiritual perfection of the living entity. This rapport is very easily achieved. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, when one is engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord, he is immediately situated on the transcendental platform of Kaivalya or Brahman.
Udasinam ivadhyaksham dravyajnanam kriyatmanam kūtastam imamatmanam noti shobhanam yo vedapnoti shobhanam. Kūtastam imam atmanam yaha veda. Yaha veda means one who knows that this body, which is made up of what? 5 gross elements, senses, jnanendriyas, karmendriyas, mind, is simply supervised by the soul. Is just adhyaksham, udasinam, adhyaksham. And that person, yo veda, apnoti shobhanam, attains good fortune of being liberated. So the soul is udasina. What is the meaning of udasina? Udasina means what? Indifferent. So one who is indifferent, he is not, one is indifferent to the body, then all the different experience in the body becomes indifferent to that also. And that person attains liberation. Okay. Read the purport.
This verse describes how one can become liberated from material bondage. The first point is that one must know that the soul is different from his body. The soul is called Dehi, or one who possesses the body, and the material body is called Deha, or the embodiment of the soul. The body is changing at every moment, but the soul is fixed. Therefore, the soul is called Kutastham. The change of body is enacted by the reactions of three modes of nature. One who has understood the fixed position of the soul should not be disturbed by the incoming and outgoing interactions of the modes of material nature in the form of happiness and distress. In Bhagavad Gita also, Lord Krishna recommends that since happiness and distress come and go due to the interaction of modes of nature on the body, one should not be disturbed by such external movements. Even though one is sometimes absorbed in such external movements, he has to learn to tolerate them. The living entity should be always indifferent to the action and reaction of the external body. Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that the body, made of the gross physical elements earth, water, fire, air, and sky, and the subtle elements mind, intelligence, and ego, is completely different from the soul proper. One should not one should therefore not be disturbed by the action and reaction of these eight gross and subtle material elements. The practical process to attain this stage of indifference is to execute a devotional service. Only one who constantly engages in devotional service 24 hours a day can be indifferent to the action and reaction of the external body. When a man is absorbed in particular thought, he does not hear or see any external activities, even though they are enacted in his presence. Similarly, those who are fully absorbed in devotional service do not care what is going on with the external body. That is called samadhi. One who is actually situated in samadhi is understood to be a first class yogi.
Now, somebody may say, just by Sakshi Bhava, you know what is Sakshi Bhava? Just being observer. The whole world is only interaction of modes of nature. I, being a soul, has nothing to do with this world. Guna guneshvartante itimatvana sajjate. Tatvaitu mahabaho gunakarami bhavayo. Guna guneshvartante. It is all interaction of modes of nature. Some modes of nature or interaction with some modes of nature will influence modes of nature. So all modes only. I have nothing to do with that. How can that person attain liberation? Yes, he can because of his detachment. Next verse. Innasya lingasya guna pravaho dravya kriyakaraka chetanatmana drishtahu sambhasu vipatsu surayo na vikriyante maivadya saurudha. Vinnasya lingasya guna pravaha. Innasya lingasya guna pravaha. Dravya kriya karaka chetanatmanaha. Dushtasu sampatsu vipatsu surayo na vikriyante maibadda saurudha. See, lingasya guna pravaha. All the material interactions are the modes of nature. Are all because of what? Because of attachment. Dravya, kriya, karaka, chetana, atmanaha. The elements, dravya. Then you have kriya, means senses. Karaka means the demigods who control the senses. And then chetanatmanaha, consciousness, content conscious mind. And they all put together become one body. Since the spirit soul is completely different from this combination of gross and subtle elements, my devotee who is connected with me with intense relation, na vikriyante maibadda saurudaha, then starts bhakti. Because of intense affection for me, he gets the complete knowledge. He is not attached to anything of this world. Never agitated with the happiness and distress of this world. So the real reason for a person not being disturbed in this world is that he has affection for Krishna and he has no affection for body. The subtle body is a cause of birth and death. The living entity is distinct from the subtle body. Hmm. The subtle body, which is having these sense objects, organs, and all. And a devotee, because of the identification that I'm affection with Krishna, he doesn't have affection for these things. That is the reason he is not disturbed by the modes of nature. Because I become distressed. I become happy because of attachment. When I'm attached to a particular object, I don't get it, then I become distressed. When I'm attached to an object, I lose it, then I become distressed. So the whole problem is attachment. And because that attachment is being transferred towards me, he has no attachment for this world. So that's how this verse onwards, pure bhakti starts. Read the purport.
The question is raised that as the superintendent of the activities of the body composition, how can he be indifferent to the activities of the body? The answer is linear. These activities are completely different from the activities of the spirit soul of the divinity. A crude example can be given in this connection. A businessman driving in a motor car sits in the car, supervises its running, and advises the driver. He knows how much gasoline is used, but he knows everything about the car. But still is apart from the car and is more connected with his business. Even while riding in the car, he thinks of his business and his office. He has no connection with the car, although he is sitting there. As the businessman is always absorbed in thoughts of his business, so the living entity can be absorbed in thoughts of rendering loving service to the Lord. Then it will be possible to remain separate from the activities of the material body. This position of neutrality can be possible only for a devotee. The word Baddha Saudhara, bound in friendship, is particularly used here. Karmis, Jnanis, and yogis cannot be bound in devotional service. Karmis fully engage in activities of body. Their aim of life is to give comfort to body only. Jnanis try to get out of entanglement with philosophical speculation, but they have no standing in the liberated position. Because they do not take shelter under the lotus feet of the Lord, they fall down from the exalted position of Brahman realization. Yogis also have a godly concept of life. They think they can achieve something spiritual by exercising the body through dharana, asana, pranayama, etc. The devotee's position is always transcendental because of his intimate relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, to remain always aloof from the actions and reactions of the body and engage in one's real occupation, namely rendering service to the Lord, can be possible only for the devotees.
Samasta samano tamadhyama sukhe cha dukhe cha jidendriyashaya mayopavutta kiraloka samyuto vidhasta vira kila okarakshanam. Vira. Vira means for you, hero. What you're supposed to do? Samaha samanottama madhyama sukhe cha dukhe cha jitendriyashaya. You be equal in what? Equiposed in what? Happiness and distress. Santosha, samana, uttama, madhyama, sukhecha, dukhecha. Then treating everybody who is uttama, madhyama, adhama. Three kinds of people. Treating high, middle, and low, all kinds of people, how? Sama. Samana Uttama, Madhyama, Adhama. And then how it should be? Jitendriyasya, controlling the mind and senses. Then Mayopa Kripta Kiraloka Samyuto Vidvasta Vira Kiraloka Rakshanam. In this transcendent position, try to execute your duty as a king in whatever condition of life you may be posted by my arrangement. Akila Roga Rakshanam. What are you supposed to do? Engage yourself in protecting people. Last verse talks about how you have affection for me. So you should follow my order. What is this order? The order is be equal, be neutral in happiness and distress. Treat everybody on the equal platform, regardless of their Uttama, Madhyam, and Kanishta. And Akila Lok Rakshanam. You protect the entire humanity. How? Considering that the situation of I being the king is given by me. Mayopaklipta Akila Loka Samyuto. Maya Upaklipta Akila Loka Samyuto. What is the meaning of Upaklipta? Maya Upaklipta means it is my arrangement that you are the king and they are the subjects. It is not that you are doing some favor to me. It's actually I made you the king and they are the subjects. You just follow my instructions. Direct instruction. Read the purport.
Here is an example of receiving direct instruction from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu. One has to execute the order of Lord Vishnu, whether receiving it directly from him or from his bona fide representative, the spiritual master. Arjuna fought the battle of Kurukshetra under the direct order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. Similarly, here, Prithu Maharaj is also being given orders by Lord Vishnu regarding the execution of his duty. We have to stick to the principles stated in the Bhagavad Gita. Avasatmaka buddhi. Every man's duty is to receive orders from Lord Krishna or from his bona fide representative and take these orders in life and soul without personal considerations. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur states that one should not care very much whether he is going to be liberated or not, but he should simply execute the direct order received from the spiritual master. If one sticks to the principle of abiding by the order of the spiritual master, he will always remain in a liberated position. The common man must execute the rules and regulations of Varnashram Dharma by working in his prescribed duty according to the caste system. Brahman, Vaishya, Shudra, and Kshatriya, and the spiritual order system, Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, Sannyas. If one simply executes regularly and strictly the injunctions given for the different divisions of life, then one satisfies Lord Vishnu. As a king, Prithu Maharaj was ordered by Lord Vishnu to keep himself always aloof from the activities of the bodily situation and to engage always in the service of the Lord, and thus keep himself in the liberated stage. The word Baddha Shauhudha in the previous verse is explained herewith. One can fully remain in intimate connection with the Supreme Lord directly or receive orders from his bona fide representative, the spiritual master, and execute the orders sincerely when one keeps aloof from the activities of the body. The Lord helps us by giving us directions how to act in devotional service and thus advance on the path back home, back to Godhead. He instructs us outwardly in the form of the spiritual master. Therefore, one should not accept the spiritual master as an ordinary human being. The Lord says, Acharyam mam bhajanayam navamam takarichit. One should not treat the spiritual master as an ordinary human being, for he is the substitute for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One should treat the spiritual master as a supreme personality of Godhead and never be envious of him or consider him to be an ordinary human being. If we can follow the instructions of the spiritual master and execute devotional service to the Lord, we will remain always free from the contamination of bodily and mental activities, and our life will be successful.
Hmm. श्रेय प्रजापालनमेव राज्ञो यत्साम्प्रदाये सुकृताष्टमंशम् अर्थान्यतापुण्यप्रजानाम् अरक्षिताकरहारोगमति अगमति. Now, why you should protect the kingdom? It is not only my order, but by protecting the kingdom, what is going to happen? Shreya Praja Palanam Eva Ragyo Yad Samarpaye Sukruta Shashtam Amsham. Shashtam Amsham means the sixth, 1/6 Sukruta. The pious activity, 1/6 of the pious activity performed by Praja, you will get by protecting the population. Because the king enjoys 1/6 of the pious activities done by. On the other hand, Hartanyata Hitapunya Prajanam Arakshita Karaharogameti Atti. If you don't protect protect the Prajanam, Arakshita Prajanam, by not protecting them, what happens? Hartanyata Hita Punyaha. They take away your pious activities. And then, Karaharo Agamati. And also, the king has to suffer for the sinful reactions. So, it is very important for the king to protect the citizens. By protecting the citizens, 1/6 of the pious activities are transferred to the king. By not protecting them, the citizens will take away the pious activity to the king, and also he should suffer for reactions of even the praja as well as his own sin. Read the purport.
The question may be raised here that if everyone engaged in spiritual activities to attain salvation and become indifferent to the activities of the material world, then how could things as they are go on? And if things are to go on as they ought to, how can a head of state be indifferent to such activities? In answer to this question, the word Shreya, auspicious, is used here. The divisions of activities in society are arranged by the Supreme Personality of Godhead was not blindly or accidentally created as foolish people say. The Brahmana must do his duty properly, and the Kshatriya, the Vaishya, and even the Shudra must do the same. And every one of them can achieve the highest perfection of life liberation from this material bondage. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, Sve Sve Karmani Abhirataha Samsiddhin Labate Naraha. By executing one's prescribed duties, one can attain the highest perfection. Lord Vishnu advised Maharaj Prithu that a king is not enjoined to give up his kingdom and the responsibility of protecting the prajas or citizens to instead go away to the Himalayas for liberation. He can attain liberation while executing his royal duties. The royal duty or the duty of the head of a state is to see that the prajas or the general mass of people are doing their respective duties for spiritual salvation. A secular state does not necessitate a king or head of a state who is indifferent to the activities of the prajas. In the modern state, the government has many rules and regulations for conducting the duties of the prajas, but the government neglects to see that the citizens advance in spiritual knowledge. If the government is careless in this matter, the citizens will act whimsically without any sense of God realization or spiritual life and thus become entangled in sinful activities. An executive head should not be callous to the welfare of the general mass of people while he simply goes on collecting taxes. The king's real duty is to see that the citizens gradually become fully Krishna conscious. Krishna conscious means completely free from all sinful activities. As soon as there is complete eradication of sinful activities in the state, then there will be no more war, pestilence, famine, and natural disturbances. This was actually prevailing during the reign of Maharaj Yudhishthir. If a king or head of a government is able to induce the citizens to become Krishna conscious, then he is worthy to rule over the mass of people. Otherwise, he has no right to levy taxes. If the king looks after the spiritual interest of the citizens, he can levy taxes without difficulties. In this way, both the subjects and the king will be happy during this life and in the next life. The king will be able to share one-sixth of the pious activities of the citizens. Otherwise, by levying taxes on the sinful citizens, he will have to share the reaction of their sinful activities. The same principle can be applied to the parents and spiritual masters as well. If parents simply give birth to children like cats and dogs, but cannot save their children from imminent death, they become responsible for the activities of their animalistic children. Lately, such children are turning into hippies. Similarly, if a spiritual master cannot direct his disciples to become free of sinful activities, he becomes responsible for their sinful acts. These subtle laws of nature are unknown to the present leaders of society. Since the leaders of society have a poor fund of knowledge and the citizens in general are rogues and thieves, there cannot be auspicious situation for human society. At the present moment, the whole world is full of such an incompatible combination of state and citizens, and therefore there is constant tension, war, and anxiety as an inevitable result of such social conditions.
So just see if the king doesn't protect the citizens and the citizens take away the pious activities and also involved in the same sinful activities which the king has to take. Next. एवं द्विजाग्र्यानुतानवृत्या धर्मा प्रधानो तमो वितास्य हर्षेण कालेन गृहोपयाताम् नष्टासि सिद्धान्ननुरक्तलोकः. Now, if you conduct your life as a good king protecting the citizens, evam dvija agriya anumata anuvritya. Oh, Pitu, if you continue to protect the citizens according to instructions of whom? Brahmanas, authorities, as they are received from the disciplic succession, hearing from master to disciple. And if you follow the religious principle laid down in them, dharmena pradhano ayatamo avithashaya. So if you follow the religious principle laid down by them without attachment to ideas manufactured by mental concoction, then every one of your citizens will be happy and will love you. Very soon, you will be able to see such already liberated personalities like Kumaras, Anuvritya Lokaha. You're able to see the Kumaras. So, in short time, Kumaras are going to come and give darshan to you with purport.
Lord Vishnu advised King Prithu that everyone should follow the principles of Varnashram Dharma. In whatever capacity one remains within this material world, the salvation is guaranteed after death. In this age, however, since the system of Varnashram Dharma is topsy-turvy, it is very difficult to strictly follow all the principles. The only method for becoming perfect in life is to develop Krishna consciousness. All Varnashram Dharma is executed from different positions by different men. So the Krishna consciousness principles can be followed by everyone in every part of the world. There is a specific purpose in mentioning herein that one should follow the Dvijagriyas, the most prominent Brahmanas like Parashara and Manu. These great sages have already given us instructions on how to live according to the principles of Varnashram Dharma. Similarly, Sanatan Goswami and Rupa Goswami have given us rules and regulations for becoming pure devotees of the Lord. It is essential, therefore, to follow the instructions of the Acharyas in the Parampara system, who have received the knowledge as passed down from spiritual master to disciple. In this way, although living in a material condition of life, we can get out of the entanglement of material contamination without leaving our positions. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu advises, therefore, that one does not have to change his position. One simply has to hear from the perfect source. This is called parampara, and follow the principles for practical application in life. Thus, one can attain the highest perfection of life, liberation, and go back home, back to Godhead. In other words, the change required is a change in consciousness, not in the body. Unfortunately, in this fallen age, people are concerned with the body, not with the soul. They have invented so many isms pertaining to the body only, not to the soul. In the modern age of democracy, there are so many government representatives voting for legislation. Every day they bring out a new law. But because these laws are only mental concoctions manufactured by inexperienced conditioned souls, they cannot give relief to human society. Formerly, although the kings were autocrats, they strictly followed the principles laid down by great sages and saintly persons. There were no mistakes in ruling over the country, and everything went perfectly. The citizens were completely pious. The king levied taxes legitimately, and therefore the situation was very happy. At the present moment, the so-called executive heads are more or less selected from materially ambitious persons who simply look after their own personal interests. They have no knowledge of the Shastras. In other words, the executive heads are fools and rascals in the strict sense of the terms, and the people in general are Shudras. This combination of fools and rascals and Shudras cannot bring about peace and prosperity in this world. Therefore, we find periodic upheavals in society in the form of battles, communal rights, and fratricidal quarrels. Under these circumstances, not only are the leaders unable to lead the people toward liberation, but they cannot even give them peace of mind. In Bhagavad Gita, it is stated that anyone who lives on concocted ideas without reference to the Shastras never becomes successful and does not attain happiness or liberation after death.
Yeah. Varam kanchana manavendra vinishate gunashila नाहं कैर्वैषुरवस्तवोऽपि योगेन वायत् समचित्तवर्ती वरं च मत कंचन मानवेंद्र वृणीशा. Ask some benediction from me. Why? Te aham gunashila yantritaha. Yantritaha means I'm controlled. I'm controlled by your guna and shila, by your qualities and nature. Naham makirvai sulabhat tapobhir. Neither by tapasya nor by big makaha, means by sacrifices. Naham sulabha. I have not attained easily. Very difficult for me to attain by sacrifices. Very difficult to attain by austerities in yoga. Because Vayat Samachittavarti, I am situated in all their hearts, neutrally. But I am controlled by you because of your guna and shila. So, the Lord speaks here with great affection, mercy, and tells Prithu, your qualities and nature is spiritual, and they're all arising from bhakti. So you had all the qualities of mercy, forgiveness, everything was there. Samachittavarti, especially one important quality is that you are samachitta, you are neutral. You are not controlled by the external influences. That is why you are having equanimity. And I am controlled by this quality. You are not controlled the qualities of this world. And because of that, because of this quality, I am controlled. So you ask some benediction from me. So Prit Maharaj wants, Krishna says to Prit Maharaj that you ask a benediction from me. So read.
Lord Vishnu was very pleased with Maharaj Prithu's good character and behavior and offered him a benediction. The Lord openly says that performing great sacrifices or undergoing the austerities of mystic yoga practice cannot satisfy him. He is pleased only by elevated character and behavior. But these cannot develop unless one becomes a pure devotee of the Lord. Anyone who has developed unalloyed, unflinching devotional service unto the Lord develops his original good qualities as spirit soul. The spirit soul, as a part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, has all the good qualities of the Lord. When the spirit soul is contaminated by the material notes of nature, one is considered good or bad with reference to the material qualities. But when one is transcendental to all material qualities, all the good qualities come out. These good qualities of a devotee, 26 in number, are listed as follows. First, kind to everyone. Second, does not quarrel with anyone. Third, fixed in the absolute truth. Equal to everyone. Faultless. Charitable. Mild. Clean. Simple. Benevolent. Peaceful. Completely attached to Krishna. Has no material hankering. Meek. Steady. Self-control. Does not eat more than required. Sane. Respectful. Humble. Grave. Compassionate, friendly, poetic, expert, silent. The Lord is satisfied by development of the transcendental qualities of the living entity and not by artificial performance of sacrifices and mystic yoga. In other words, unless one is fully qualified to become a pure devotee of the Lord, one cannot expect to be liberated from material entanglement.
Now, Maitreya says, Maitreya Uvacha, Saitam Loka Guruna Vishwakshenena Vishwajit Anushasita Adesham Shirasa Jagrihe Hare. So when Saitam Loka Guruna, the spiritual master of the whole world, Lokatraya Guru, when Mritu was instructed by him, who is Krishna, who is Lokatraya Guru, also Vishwakshena. What is the meaning of Vishwakshena?
By the personality of Godhead.
Who know, do you know who is Vishwakshena? Very good. He is Surasainya. He is a Natham, Surasainya Natha. Not Surasainya, he is actually commander-in-chief of the army of Vaikunta, Natha. Narayana's commander-in-chief. He is Vishwakshena. He is the elephant form of the Lord. Elephant form of Krishna. Vishwakshena katasuyaha nautpadayet yadi ratim Shramayevahi kevalam. He is the original spiritual master in the Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya. Like we have Nityananda, Vishwakshena is the original spiritual master for the Sri Vaishnavas. That is why Vishwakshena is worshipped there in Sri Vaishnava Sampradaya. So Vishwakshena, Vishwajit. Vishwajit means the conqueror of the world. Anushashita Adesham Shirasa Jagrihe Hare. Prithu Maharaj accepted the instructions given by Jagat Guru, Vishwakshena, Vishwajit, he accepted the instruction given by Krishna on his head. Shirasa Jagrihe Hare, on his head. So read the purport.
One should accept the instructions of Supreme Personality of Godhead by bowing down at the lotus feet of the Lord. This means that anything spoken by the Personality of Godhead should be taken as it is, with great care and attention and with great respect. It is not our business to amend the words of the Supreme Personality of Godhead or make additions or alterations, as it has become a custom for many so-called scholars and swamis who comment on the words of Bhagavad Gita. Here, the practical example of how to accept the instruction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is shown by Prithu Maharaj. This is the way to receive knowledge through the Parampara system.
Svishandam Vadayo Prerna Readam Svena Karmana Shatakratum Vishya Vidvesham Vishrasachaha. So now, being ashamed, Vriditam, Svena Karmana. Indra was Vriditam. Vriditam means ashamed of what? Svena Karmana, the activity is that of stealing the horse. Padayot Prerna Sprisham. So what did he do? He went to pay obeisances to Prithu Maharaj. You want to touch the feet. Then Prithu Maharaj told, no. Shadakratum Pariswajya Vidvesham Visa Sarjaha. What did Prithu Maharaj do? Huh? Pariswajya means embraced. Whom? Indra. Who is that Indra? Shatak Kratum. Who has performed 100 sacrifices. So he embraced him. And then by giving up what? Vidvesham Visa Sarjaha. By giving up his dvesha. Okay, this was the read the purport.
There are many cases in which a person becomes an offender to the lotus feet of a Vaishnava and later became repentant. Here also we find that although the king of heaven Indra was so powerful that he accompanied Lord Vishnu, he felt himself a great offender for stealing Prithu Maharaja's horse that was meant for sacrifice. An offender at the lotus feet of a Vaishnava is never excused by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There are many instances illustrating this fact. Amrish Maharaj was offended by Durvasa Muni, a great sage and mystic yogi, and Durvasa also had to fall down at the lotus feet of Amrish Maharaj. Indra decided to fall down at the lotus feet of King Prithu, but the king was so magnanimous a Vaishnava that he did not want Maharaj Indra to fall down at his feet. Instead, King Prithu immediately picked him up and embraced him. With both of them forgot all the past incidents. Both King Indra and Maharaj Prithu were envious and angry with each other. But since both of them were Vaishnavas or servants of Lord Vishnu, it was their duty to adjust the cause of their envy. This is also a first-class example of cooperative behavior between Vaishnavas. In the present days, however, because people are not Vaishnavas, they fight perpetually among one another and are vanquished without finishing the mission of human life. There is a great need to propagate the Krishna consciousness movement in the world so that even though people sometimes become angry and malicious toward one another because of their being Krishna conscious, such rivalry, competition, and envy can be adjusted without difficulty.
So compromise in is a basis of cooperation. Cooperation means compromise. Without compromise, there cannot be any cooperation. 19. Bhak
Here, Prabhupada writes in the purport that both Prithu and Indra were envious and angry with each other. So, but Prithu Maharaj is pure devotee of Lord. So, he becoming envious, how can you look at it? Because
he externally showed the anger, isn't it? He just took the power. Is it so? Earlier, his son was doing it, trying to, okay, forgave him. Again, he stole the horse. Then, when it came to the notice of Prithu Maharaj, what did he do? He just took the arrow and is about to kill Indra. So, even though one may be a pure devotee, sometimes this external manifestation of anger comes because you're doing a sacrifice and he's a king also. As a king, is supposed to give due punishment. That's but definitely Prithu Maharaj is a pure devotee. That will come to know in the further verses is going to chant. So we'll do one verse and then take a break. Bhagavan Vishwatma Ritunopahrita Samyujjhanaya Bhaktya Grihita Charanambujaha. Bhagavan Atha Vishwatma, he is Vishwatma, the soul of the universe. What did Prithu Maharaj do? Prithu Nopa Hritarhanaha Arhanaha Upahrita Arahanaha. All the paraphernalia for worship was arranged. Prithu Maharaj offered everything as worship to him. Samujjanaya Bhaktya Grihita Charanambujaha. Prithu Maharaj offered everything to the Supreme Lord. And then immediately what did he do? He fell at the feet of Krishna. And then Grihita Charanambujaha. He caught hold of the feet of Krishna. How? Samujjitanaya Bhaktya. What is the meaning of Samujjitanaya Bhaktya? So much of bhakti was increasing in him. And in this way, he just caught hold of the feet of Krishna. Every moment, bhakti was increasing in his heart. Read.
when various ecstasies appear in the body of a devotee, it is to be understood that his devotional service has become perfect. There are many types of transcendental ecstasies in the forms of crying, laughing, perspiring, falling down, and crying like a madman. All these symptoms are sometimes visible in the body of a devotee. They are called Ashtasattvik Vikar, which means 8 kinds of transcendental transformations. They are never to be imitated, but when a devotee actually becomes perfect, these symptoms are visible on his body. The Lord is Bhakta-Vatsala, which means that he is inclined toward his pure devotee. Therefore, the transcendental ecstatic transaction between the Supreme Lord and his devotee is driven like activities of this material world.
Okay. Should I just break? 15 minutes break? Yes.
Like in Kali Yuga, we can at least we know we are more aware of ashram like brahmachari, grahastha, vanapastha. But when it comes to varna, it's so mixed up and Prabhupada is telling in whatever position one can render devotion service. So how much importance
Good question.
varna has?
That is the reason we should first concentrate on ashrama, then varna will develop. The reason is when your ashrama is perfect, means when you purify the ashrama, when you are trained as a brahmachari, then those who get married, they get married to a girl who is chaste. and they do the Garbhadana Sanskara. And when they get married also, they see the horoscope matching and also their social status. The Brahmanas get married to Brahmana, Kshatriya to Kshatriya. If not, their Varnas are not so clear, but still some matching can be done. When they follow the principles, Vedic principles, and they give birth to a baby. So then the baby has better sanskars. So one generation is over. And that baby, when he grows up, when he gets married to another girl who is born in the same way, and they produce a child, that is the first and the second, third generation. And that is where the third generation, Varna can be clearly identified. Because Varnas are come from ashrama. The ashrama is the basis. That's the whole plan. So that is why Varnashrama dharma cannot be established immediately. It is there, but it has to take a form. It takes 3 generations. Okay. Now, just imagine 1990s, early 90s, that is the time when Radhesham will start preaching here. Who do you think of Varnashram Dharma at the time? No. Now it's already how many years? 35 years, approximately. 35 years. So 35 years means one generation over. Now those who are priests, some became brahmacharis, some became grihasthas. So when they became grihasthas, they produced children who were taking prasadam right from the womb. So when they grew up, they had good sanskar at least. They are not like wild kids. So when they get married, and the next generation, you will find Varnashrama, ashram being recognized. And for the Varna to be practically executed, you require an economy. You just cannot have Varna without proper economy in the society. So now, for you to feed 10,000 people on Ramnami, it's not a big thing. But there's a day, even to arrange khichdi for 50 people was a difficult, isn't it? I know that because I started coming to Pune. 97 I joined. Then 99 onwards, I was coming quite often, once in 2 months or 3 months per year like that. I knew it was very great, difficult times. I saw even in our temple also difficult times. For Janmashtami, we used to go, we 3 brahmacharis used to go shop to shop for like 11 rupees. Somebody used to give 20 rupees. Somebody would give one shopkeeper when I get to Janmashtami, then he just opened his galla. And then at that time notes were there, all the kachra notes, some tone and all. He just made it and give. Bring in some home. I remember we got the notes because it was raining also, it got wet. He ironed those notes. So what Varnashram we can do at that time? Only Shram. So it takes 3 generations minimum. So if you focus on that.
In terms of preaching also, Prabhuji.
Yeah. Then from the time you start really practicing Krishna consciousness, preaching Krishna consciousness, you get. So it takes at least 3 generations. And for that to happen, you need to have Gurukul. Without Gurukul, you cannot have Varnashram. You cannot develop Varna properly.
For the modern education of even Grasta children, they are studying in modern education and that.
So that is why you need to preach about it. You have to have economy. For example, if you have a school which trains you so nicely that you can be successful in any field with sense control, that is why Gurukul is very important. You should have high standard Gurukuls. Parents would tell the children, no problem. Okay. We'll meet at 1 o'clock, 15 minutes break. 20th verse. Prasthanabhimukhopyenam anugraha vilambitah pashyan padnapalasaksho navrataste surutsatam. So Lord Krishna was about to leave Prasthana Abhimukho, though he was just about to leave Prasthana Abhimukho evam. Ritu Maharaj, what did he do? Anugraha Vilambitaha. He delayed by his feelings of mercy as he was about to leave. And he was about to leave, just stop. He stopped there. Na prataste surud satam. The Lord with lotus eyes and his surud satam, friend of the devotees. He saw Prithu Maharaj was having these feelings, vilambitaha, anugrahena vilambitaha. Pashyan, seeing that mood of Prithu Maharaj, Padma Pala Krishna, he stopped for some time and he did not depart. So read the purport, 20th.
Always thinking of the devotee's well-being. This is not partiality. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, the Lord is equal to everyone, samoham sarva bhuteshu. But to one who particularly engages in his service, he is very much inclined. In another place, the Lord says that a devotee always exists in his heart, and he always also exists always in the heart of the devotee. The special inclination of the Supreme Personality of Godhead for his pure devotee is not unnatural, nor is it partiality. For example, sometimes a father has several children, but he has special affection for one child who is very much inclined toward him. This is explained in Bhagavad Gita 10.10. Yesham satarektanam bhayatam priti purvakam adami buddhivogam tam ejanamapayandite. Those who constantly engage in the devotional service of the Lord in love and affection are directly in contact with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, sitting as a super soul in everyone's heart. The Lord is not far away from the devotee. He is always in everyone's heart, but only the devotee can realize the Lord's presence, and thus he is directly connected. And he takes instruction from the Lord at every moment. Therefore, there is no chance of a devotee's being in error, nor is there any partiality on the part of the Lord for his pure devotees.
Next. Sadirajo Rajitanjaliharim Vilokitum Nasakshadashtulochana Naginjano Sabhashpavikalvo Vidopavya Adatavastita. So then Adi Raja, King Prithu is known as Adi Raja, the original king. Rachitanjali Harim. He folded his hands with folded hands. Vilokitum, Vilokitum, with tears in his eyes. Vilokitum na sakshat ashulochanaha. He had tears in his eyes. And at the same time, because of his tears, na akshat, he was not able to see the Lord properly. And not only that, na kincha no vacha, he was not able to speak properly also. Sa bhashpa vikalvo, because of his choked up his voice, he could not speak. Hridopaguhyam adat avastitaha. Hrida upaguhyam, within his heart, upaguhya, he embraced Krishna Adat avastitaha. And that Krishna who was standing in front of him. So Prithu Maharaj had that kind of feelings, extraordinary feelings for Krishna, extraordinary feelings of bhakti. Lord was standing in front of him, and Prithu Maharaj to Krishna was standing in front of him into his heart and embraced him. Eyes full of tears, he could not see him, and he started purifying, but he could not because of his Gadgadaya Gira. So, read the purport.
Just as Krishna is addressed in the Brahma as Adi Purusha, the original personality. So King Prithu, being a power incarnation of the Lord, is referred to in this verse as Adi Raja, the original or ideal king. He was a great devotee and at the same time a great hero who conquered over all undesirable elements in his kingdom. He was so powerful that he was equal in fighting to Indra, the king of heaven. He gave protection to his citizens, keeping them engaged in pious activities and devotion to the Lord. He did not collect a single cent of taxes from the citizens without being able to give them protection from all calamities. The greatest calamity in life is to become godless and therefore sinful. The state head or king allows the citizens to become sinful by indulging in illicit sex life, intoxication, meat eating, and gambling, then the king is responsible. And he has to suffer the resultant sequence of reactions for the sinful lives of the citizens because he levies taxes on them unnecessarily. These are the principles of a ruling power. And because Maharaj Prithu observed all the principles for a ruling chief, he is referred to here as Adi Raja. Even a responsible king like Maharaj Prithu can become a pure devotee of the first order. We can distinctly see from King Prithu's behavior how he became ecstatic, both externally and internally, in pure devotional service. Just today, we have seen in the newspapers of Bombay that the government is going to repeal its prohibition laws. Ever since Gandhi's non-cooperation movement, Mumbai has been kept dry and has not allowed its citizens to vote. But unfortunately, the citizens are so clever that they have increased illicit distillation of liquor. And although not being sold publicly in shops, liquor is being sold in public laboratories and similar abnormal places. Unable to check such illicit smuggling, the government has decided to manufacture the liquor at cheaper prices so that the people can have the supply of intoxication directly from the government instead of purchasing it in the public laboratories. The government failed to change the hearts of the citizens from their indulging in sinful life. So instead of using the taxes they collect to inflate the treasury, they have decided to manufacture liquor to supply the citizens who liquor after it. This kind of government cannot check the resultant actions of sinful life, meaning war, pestilence, famine, earthquakes, and similar other disturbances. Nature's law is that as soon as there are discrepancies in regard to the laws of God, which are described in Bhagavad Gita's Dharma Siddhani, or disagreements with the laws of the nature of the God, at once there will be heavy punishment in the form of sudden outbreaks of war. We have recently experienced a war between India and Pakistan. Within 14 days, there have been immense losses of men and money, and there have been disturbances to the entire world. These are the reactions of a sinful life. The Krishna conscious movement is meant to make people pure and perfect. If we become even partially pure, as described in Bhagavatam, the development of Krishna consciousness, then lust and greed, the material diseases of the citizens will be reduced. This can be made possible simply by broadcasting the pure message of Srimad Bhagavatam or Krishna consciousness. Big commercial and industrial firms have contributed many thousands of rupees to a defense fund that burns the money in the form of gunpowder, but unfortunately, if they are asked to contribute liberally to advance the Krishna conscious movement, they are reluctant. Under the circumstances, the world will periodically suffer from such upsurges and outbreaks of war, which are the consequence of not being Krishna conscious.
Atha अथामृज्याश्रुकलाविलोकयन् अत्रेप्तदृग्गोचरमाह पूरुषम् पदास्पृशन्तं क्षितिमंशमुन्नते वेनास्त्यहस्ताग्रमुरङ्गविद्विषा. So now what did Prithu Maharaj do? He wiped his tears because he could not say Krishna. Then he saw the Lord, Vilokayan. After wiping his tears, he could see the Lord in front of him, visible in front of him. Apritag Drigocharam Aha Purusham. With his eyes, he could see Krishna. But still he was not very satisfied because the beauty of Krishna was so nice. Pada Sprishantam Kshitimamsha Unnate. The feet of the Lord was touching the earth. And Venashthyahastangam Ugranga Viddishaha. So the hand was placed on elevated shoulder of Garuda. So that was the how the Lord was there, because he was about to get onto Garuda and he has just placed his hand there. He raised his hands. Who is known as Garuda is known as Uranga Vidvishaha. Uranga means snakes. Snakes Vidvishaha means one who is the enemy of the snakes. That is Garuda. He placed his hands. So he saw the Lord in front of him, and the beauty of the Lord was so much that it could not satisfy his eyes. He was standing on the feet and he kept the hand on the Garuda. One feet was there because they were about to climb. One feet was there and he had to balance. So he kept his hand on Garuda like that. Okay, read the purport.
The significant point in this verse is that the Lord was standing above the ground, almost touching it. The residents of the other planetary systems, beginning from Brahma-lok, the planet where life lives, down to Swarga-lok, the planet of Indra, are so advanced in spiritual life that when they come to visit this or similar other lower planetary systems, they keep their weightlessness. This means that they can stand without touching the ground. Lord Vishnu is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but because he lives in one of the planetary systems within this universe, he sometimes plays as if one of the demigods of this universe. When he first appeared before Prithvi Maharaj, he was not touching the ground of this earth, but when he was fully satisfied with the behavior and character of Maharaj Prithvi, he immediately acted as the Supreme Personality of God Narayan from Vakuntha. Out of affection for Prithvi Maharaj, he touched the earth, but he rested the front of his hand on the raised shoulder of Garuda, his carrier, as if to prevent himself from falling down. Since the Lord is not accustomed to stand on the earthly ground, these are all symptoms of his great affection for Prithvi Maharaj. Perceiving his fortunate position, Prithvi Maharaj could not fully look upon the Lord due to ecstasy. But still, in a faltering voice, he began to offer prayers. We have a question in the previous purport. There was mention about how the karmic reactions are applied working who doesn't take care of his release properly. So, is there any mention that because nowadays the kings or the governments are selected by the citizens. So, are the citizens also responsible to elect such a government and select such a leader who is encouraging weaker which paper is mentioned in the previous
Like Prithu Maharaj. It's Kali Yuga.
Yes.
So it is like best among the worst.
Yes.
Best among the worst. So how can you say who is the best? Anybody who is favorable for Krishna consciousness, that is best. That is best among the worst. So it has to be chosen. We have to choose somebody like him. Modi. Now there may be somebody in opposition also sometimes may favor more than what Modi can favor you. But we try to be non-political because in democracy, somebody has got good time, they rise up after some time. So we are interested in the government, not a political party. The political parties may come and go, but we want a government which is favorable. So we have to increase our influence. We have to increase our influence by which we create a space in the government. How do you increase? By two things. One is creation of the vote bank influence. Number two is creation of space in the secretariat by asking our devotees to
UPSC. UPSC.
give IAS and then to them. There's only way that you can, ultimately, everything is influence in democracy. If you have, say, 10 lakh votes, then anybody, it may be anybody, they listen to you. They have to listen because you got 10 lakh votes. So the only way to bring a change is to have heavy preaching. And the politicians would like your support. And for your support, they're willing to do anything. There's one temple, one politician called one devotee. He said, I want to come to your temple. So then the devotee, I told him, very good politician, didn't come. Then he told me, Rohi, ऐसे मत बुलाना, election का time है. जो भी काम बताओ, काम करा के तो बुलाए. It's like that. So out of affection of Prithu Maharaj, he touched the earth, but he rested his friend of his hand on the raised shoulders of Garuda. His carriage, as if to prevent himself from falling down. These are the symptoms of great affection of Prithu Maharaj. Great affection for Prithu Maharaj. Perceiving this fortune, Prithu Maharaj could not fully look upon the Lord due to ecstasy, but still in a faltering voice, he began to offer prayers. Very beautiful prayers, Prithu Maharaj's prayers.
In this purport, Prabhupada is writing as if Krishna is not accustomed to stand on the earthly plane.
He's not accustomed to?
Since the Lord is not accustomed to stand on the earthly ground. So what Prabhupada is mentioning?
Yeah, kind of. He's always in Garuda. Because the demigods don't touch the earth. When demigods themselves don't touch the earth, they want to speak of Supreme Lord. But out of affection for Prithu Maharaj, he touched the ground with one feet. And he was about to climb Garuda, so to balance, he just kept the hand on top. That is what is described here. Okay, next. Pritruvacha. Varan vivocha varadeshava varadeshavarabhuda. No, what a chanda for it. Varan vibhota varadeshvarabhuda katam rinite guna Kriyapanam yena kamanam apishanti dehinam tam ishakai valyapate nacha. Prithu Maharaj, when he was asked by Krishna to ask for vara means benediction, then what did Prithu Maharaj say? Varam varo vibho tvad varadeshwarat buddha. Buddha, intelligent person. Katam how can an intelligent person ask for benedictions from you? I know that you can give all kinds of benedictions. Who are you? Varadeshwarat. Varadeshwarat. Buddha varam katam vrinite. Gunavikriyatmanam. ये नारकानाम् अपि सन्ति देहिनाम् तामे न च. I am not going to ask any benedictions from you because these benedictions are already available with people who are narakanam. Suppose if I ask you, I want 10 crore rupees, but those who have 10 crore rupees are already experiencing Narakiya Parasthiti. So any benediction I ask from you, it is going to take me to hell. Ye Narakanam Abhisanti Dehinam, Santi Dehinam, it is there existing in them. I don't even want liberation. I know you are Kaivalya Pate. I don't even want liberation. How can I accept? Because I'm not even interested in the name of liberation. Then, a person who is interested in liberation is also not interested in materialistic things. Then what to speak of me who is not even interested in liberation? Got the point? So how can I ask benediction from you? I don't want to ask any benediction from you. First reason, if I ask any benediction, all the benedictions are already there with those people who are living in a hellish condition of life. Number two, those who are seeking liberation, they also don't ask for these benedictions. If that is the case, why I should ask? Because I don't even seek liberation. Then what to speak of asking these things? Okay? Take the purport.
There are different kinds of benedictions according to a person's demands. For Karmas, the best benediction is promotion to the higher mental systems. The duration of life is very long, and the standard of living is attention. There are others, namely Gyanis and Yogis, who want the benediction of knowledge to the existence of Lord. This is called Kaivalya. The Lord is therefore addressed as Kaivalya Pati, the master or Lord of the benediction known as Kaivalya. The devotees receive a different type of benediction from the planets, not for merging into the existence of Lord. According to devotees, Kaivalya or merging into existence of Lord is considered as good as hell. The word Naraka means hell. Similarly, everyone who exists in this material world is called Naraka because this material world itself is known as a hellish condition of life. Putri Maharaj, however, expressed that he was interested neither in benediction desired by the Karnis nor that desired by the Gyanis and Yogis. So, Prabhupada Saraswati Prabhu, a great devotee of Lord Chaitanya, described that Kaivalya is no better than hellish condition of life. And as for the delights of the heavenly planets, they are factually with the wisps or phantasmagoria. They are not wanted by devotees. Devotees do not even care for the positions held by Lord Brahma or Lord Shiva. Not every devotee desire to become equal with Lord Vishnu. As a pure devotee of the Lord, Putri Maharaj made his position very clear.
Next. न कामयेनातदप्यलं वचिन्मयत्रयुष्मच्चरणाम्बुजाशव Mahantarantamukochuto Vidvasthagarmachutameva me vrata vara. So, Are, you have said that I don't want to ask anything, but ask something. Ah. Don't say that I'm going to give liberation. Ask something. Then what does he say? Nakamayo nata dadatyalam kvachin. I do not desire anything. And especially I don't desire one thing. What is that? What? Nakamayo nata tadapyalam kvachin. Vidvasta karnayutam yeshame varaha. I don't want liberation. Nakamaye nata dadapyalam kvachit any time. Because the previous verse it is described about, he's been addressed as what? Kaivalya pate. I know, Lord, you are Kaivalya pate. Kaivalya pate means you can give liberation. But listen, I am not going to ask liberation from you. Because the Lord may think, oh, Prithu Maharaj, you have addressed me as Kaivalya pati. That means, do you want liberation or what? Then, in a bit of anger, Prithu Maharaj, what does he say? Especially, I don't want liberation at all. Why? Because Nayatra Yushvat Charanambujashavaha. There, in that state of liberation, there is no nectar of your lotus feet. Coming from Mahattamam Paradayam Mukhachuto. Coming from the mouth of the devotees. Coming from the heart and the mouth of devotees. Hridayam Mukhachuto. So now, what do you want? Tell me. You've been telling, I don't want, I don't want, I don't want. If at all you want to give me, what you should give? Vidhastva. Vidhastva means you give me. What do you give me? Karnayutam yeshameva paraha. Karnayutam. What is the meaning of Karnayutam? Years. How many years is asking for? Karna ayutam. Ayutam means what? Karna ayutam. Million. Give me millions of years. And that is my request. Then, oh, you asked me to ask anything, but I am going to ask you one thing. That is Karanayutam. Give me millions of years. You have not given 2 years to me. Because why you want millions of years? Because your qualities are unlimited. And how can I just be satisfied with these 2 years? I cannot give up even one quality being heard anywhere. So I want to hear. So in this way, Prithu Maharaj expresses his greed. I want infinite number of years. Years. And other senses also. I don't want anything else. This is my wish. Read the purport.
In the previous verse, Maharaj Prithu addressed the Lord as Kaivalyapati, the master of the liberation of merging into his existence. This does not mean that he was anxious for Kaivalya liberation. That is made clear in this verse. My dear Lord, I do not want such a benediction. Maharaj Prithu wanted to have 1,000,000 ears to hear the glories of the lotus feet of the Lord. He specifically mentioned that the glories of the Lord should emanate from the mouths of pure devotees who speak from the core of their hearts. It is stated in the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam 1.1.3, Shukmukad Amrita Dravya Samyutam,
The nectar of Srimad Bhagavatam became more relishable because it emanated from the mouth of Srila Shukadeva Goswami. One might think that these glories of the Lord can be heard from anywhere from the mouths of either devotees or non-devotees. But here it is specifically mentioned that the glories of the Lord must emanate from the mouths of pure devotees. Shri Sanatan Goswami has strictly prohibited hearing from the mouth of non-devotee. There are many professional reciters of Srimad Bhagavatam who speak the narrations very ornamentally. But a pure devotee does not like to hear from them because such glorification of the Lord is simply a vibration of material sound. But when heard from the mouth of pure devotee, glorification of the Lord is immediately effective. The word Satam Prasangan Mamavirya Samvibhaha 3.25.25 means that glorification of the Lord is potent when uttered from the mouth of pure devotee. The Lord has innumerable devotees all over the universe, and they have been glorifying the Lord since time immemorial and for an unlimited time. But still, they cannot completely finish enumerating the glories of the Lord. Prithu Maharaj therefore wanted innumerable ears, as Rupa Goswami also desired to have millions of ears and millions of tongues to chant and hear the glorification of the Lord. In other words, if our ears are always engaged in hearing the glorification of the Lord, there will be no scope for hearing the Mayavad philosophy, which is doomed to spiritual progress. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said that if anyone hears from Mayavadi philosopher preaching about the activities of the Lord, even if it is a description from the Vedic literature, he is ultimately doomed. By hearing such Mayavad philosophy, one cannot come to the destination of spiritual perfection of life.
When Vyasa wrote Bhagavatam and he taught it to Sukadeva Goswami, then the same Vyasa, when he was hearing from Sukadeva Goswami, he felt, hey, it is more wonderful. The same way, when the Bhagavatam is spoken by devotees, Pibata Bhagavatam Rasamalayam Muro Rasika Bhuvibhavuka. Rasikas, they feel more happy when they hear the Bhagavatam from the devotees, because the Bhagavatam increases its rasa. The more the devotees speak, the rasa increases. On the other hand, the same Bhagavatam is spoken by non-devotees. Sarpochistam yata payaha. Next. Savuttama mahanukochuto bhavat padamboja sudhakaram sutimbana vishwamrita tattavartmanam yoginam no vitat alam marihi. Sa uttama shloka mahan mukachuto bhavat padamboja sudha kananilaha smritim punar vismrita tattavartmanam kuyoginam no. He says, oh Lord, I am kuyogi. Kuyogi means what? Kuyogi means what? Kuyoginam. A person like me was kuyogi, kuyoginam. These topics, Uttama Shloka Mahanukachyuto, the Uttama Shloka, Krishna's Katha, which is oozing out of the mouth of devotees. Bhavat Padambuja Sudha Kananilaha. Even the wind touching the drop of the nectar of your lotus feet brings remembrance. Smritim punar visprita tattva vartmanam. Remembrance for the bad yogis who have forgotten the truth we just taught. So, kuyogina no vitarati alam varaihi. What is the use of any other vara? Any other benediction? Because the glory of Krishna Katha is so much that even the wind which is passing from Kanaha, Kana means small drop, that is going to give pleasure to the yogis. Read.
It is explained in the previous verse that one has to hear glorification of the Lord from the mouth of a pure devotee. This is further explained here. The transcendental vibration from the mouth of a pure devotee is so powerful that it can revive the living entity's memory of his eternal relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In our material existence, under the influence of illusory Maya, we have almost forgotten our eternal relationship with the Lord, exactly like a man sleeping very deeply who forgets his duties. In the Vedas, it is said that every one of us is sleeping under the influence of Maya. We must get up from this slumber and engage in the right service, so thus we can properly utilize the facility of this human form of life. As expressed in a song by Thakur Bhaktivinoda, Lord Chaitanya says, Jeev Jaga, Jeev Jaga. The Lord asks every sleeping living entity to get up and engage in devotional service so that his mission in this human form of life may be fulfilled. This awakening voice comes through the mouth of a pure devotee. A pure devotee always engages in the service of the Lord, taking shelter of his lotus feet, and therefore he has a direct connection with the saffron mercy particles that are strewn over the lotus feet of the Lord. Although when a pure devotee speaks, the articulation of his voice may resemble the sound of this metal sky. The voice is spiritually very powerful because it touches the particles of saffron dust on the lotus feet of the Lord. As soon as a sleeping living entity hears the powerful voice emanating from the mouth of a pure devotee, he immediately remembers his eternal relationship with the Lord, although up until that moment he had forgotten everything. For a conditioned soul, therefore, it is very important to hear from the mouth of a pure devotee who is fully surrendered to the lotus feet of the Lord without any material desire, speculative knowledge, or contamination of the modes of material nature. Every one of us is Kuvalgi because we have engaged in the service of this material world, forgetting our eternal relationship with the Lord as His eternal loving servants. It is our duty to rise from the Kuyoga platform to become Suyogis, perfect mystics. The process of hearing from a pure devotee is recommended in all Vedic scriptures, especially by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. One may stay in his position of life, it does not matter what it is. But if one hears from the mouth of a pure devotee, he gradually comes to the understanding of his eternal relationship with the Lord, and thus engages in his loving service, and his life becomes completely perfect. Therefore, this process of hearing from the mouth of a pure devotee is very important for making progress in the line of spiritual understanding.
So now, in one sense, Prithu Maharaj is telling, oh Lord, I am a Kuyogi. You know why? Because all the philosophy what you spoke earlier, Paramatma, Atma and all, I forgot. Just by what? Thinking of Krishna's pastimes, which are full of rasa. And the glory of the pastimes of Krishna is so wonderful that even the air which is coming from that drop of nectar, that itself is intoxicating. Then what to speak of the drop of nectar? If that is the case with the drop of nectar, what to speak of the nectar itself? So anything about your qualities will bring remembrance of your lotus feet. It produces so much of intoxication that I totally forget all the tattva, all the philosophy what you have spoken. So now I want what? To ears by which I can hear your pastimes, which is oozing out from the heart of the devotees to their mouth. What is the use of any other benediction? There is no use of any other benediction, since I am totally satisfied by the nectar coming off your lotus feet, like a bee. What does honeybee do? It's completely engrossed in the lotus. When an insect, for the sake of the honey in the lotus, it is willing to give up its life. Then what to speak of me, who is attracted to the lotus of your lotus feet, the honey which is there in the lotus feet. So I just want to engross myself in that. Next. Yasha Shivam.
The lotus feet of Lord, yeah, this said, although when the speaks, the articulation of his voice may resemble the sound of a tree sky, the voice is spiritually very powerful which touches the particles of saffron dust on the lotus feet of Lord. So when saffron dust at the lotus feet of Lord, how this analogy is used? So
In lotus is saffron.
in the middle,
That's
in the middle.
And also Krishna's feet, kesar is always there. They apply. It's red, reddish. You see, deities also. Yasha Shivam Suswara Arya Sangame Yadechaya Pashunoti Te Sakra Katam Guna Dvina Vajum Shirya Pravyo Sanga Echaya. So Yashaha. Yashaha means what? The glorification. Shivam. The glorification of the Lord is all auspicious. Or the Lord's glorification has auspicious fame. His auspicious fame. And Shusha, Shrava, Arya Sangame. Sushrava means what? Arya Sangame. Oh Lord, who is Sushrava? Sushrava means what? Who is glorified everywhere. Your glory should be heard where? In association of great devotees. Arya Sangame. Yadrichaya Chopashunoti Te Sakrit. Sakrit means even little bit, once. Once also. If somebody gets a chance to hear your auspicious qualities in the association of devotees, Tatam Gunagyo Virame Dvina Pashun. See, even a person who has just heard your glories, even once in the association of devotees, when he becomes so intoxicated, then what to speak of? Katam Gunagyaha. Gunagya means one who knows. Viramed. How can a person who knows your qualities give up your glorification? Vina Pashun. Yeah, there is a person who gives up. Who is he? Pashu. Pashu means animal. He is a human but animal. Shri Yat Pravare Gunasangrahechaya. These qualities of yours, the glorification, even Shri Yat Pravare means what? She also accepts Guna Sangraha Ichaya. She also has a great desire to hear the glories of your qualities. Yadrichaya. So definitely those who are born as humans, but still they are not interested in hearing. They are like what? Pashu. I am not a Pashu. Trying to give up all these things and take liberation. Liberation is sought by many great yogis. Take this liberation, my dear Pitu Maharaj. Say, I don't want it. Because let me be a human and be here. And then hear your topics rather than attaining some liberation. So read the purport.
The association of devotees is the most Arya Sangama is the most important factor in this world. The word Arya refers to those who are advancing spiritually. In the history of human race, the Aryan family is considered to be the most elevated community in the world because it adopts the Vedic civilization. The Aryan family is distributed all over the world and is known as Indo-Aryan. In prehistoric days, all the members of the Aryan family followed the Vedic principles and therefore they became spiritually advanced. The kings, known as Rajarishis, were so perfectly educated as Kshatriyas or protectors of the citizens and so greatly advanced in spiritual life that there was not a bit of trouble for the citizens. The glorification of the Supreme Lord can be very much appreciated by the Aryan family. Although there is no bar for others, the members of Aryan family very quickly catch the essence of spiritual life. How is it that we are finding it very easy to spread Krishna consciousness among Europeans and Americans? History reports that the Americans and Europeans proved their capability when they were anxious to expand colonization, but at the present time being contaminated by the advancement of material science, their sons and grandsons are turning into reprobates. This is due to their having lost their original spiritual culture, which is Vedic civilization. Presently, these descendants of Aryan family are taking this Krishna consciousness movement very seriously. Others who are associating with them and hearing the chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra from the lips of pure devotees are also becoming captivated by the transcendental vibration. Transcendental vibrations are very much effective when chanted among Aryans. But even though one does not belong to the Aryan family, he will become a Vaishnava simply by hearing the mantra because the vibration has great influence over everyone. Maharaj Prithu points out that even the goddess of fortune, who is the constant companion of Lord Narayan, specifically wanted to hear about Lord's glories, and for the association of the gopis, who are pure devotees, the goddess of fortune Lakshmi underwent severe austerities. The impersonalist may ask why one should bother chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra continually for so many years instead of stopping and trying for Kaivalya, liberation, or merging into the existence of the Lord? In answer, Maharaj Pithu maintains that the attraction of this chanting is so great that one cannot give up the process unless he is an animal. This is the case even if one comes in contact with this transcendental vibration by chance. Prithu Maharaj is very emphatic in this connection. Only an animal can give up the practice of chanting Hare Krishna. Those who are not animals but actually intelligent, advanced, human, civilized men cannot give up this practice of continually chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Next. अथा भजे किल पुरुषोत्तमं गुणालयं पद्मकलेवलालस करेवलालसा आप्यायिकवते स्पृधो कले न स्यात् कृतत्वच्चरणैकतानयो. So atha atha abje tva akhila purushottamam gunalayam padmakaleva lalasa. So now I just want to engage myself in the service of your lotus feet. Krita tavat charaneka tanayoho. How ekatanayoho, I just want to serve. That's all. And where did I get the desire to serve your lotus feet? From Lakshmi. And to serve just like goddess of fortune. And what does she have in her hand? She has a lotus flower. Abja tva akhila purushottamam gunalayam padma kareva lalasa. She has a lotus in her hand. Kara eva lalasa. So who worships, who carries a lotus flower in her hand because of his lordship, Supreme Personality Godhead, Purushottama. Why? Because he's Gunalayam. He's the abode of all the qualities. Now I am afraid. What is the fear? Huh? I am afraid that God is a fortune and I would quarrel because both of us would be attentively engaged in the same service. I am having fear. Nasyat kritatvat charaneka tanayo. Spriddo Kali. Spridda means competing. Kali means quarrel. So I am afraid that there will be a quarrel between both of us. I want only service of the lotus feet, no other benediction. Abhaje means I just want to serve you without any desire. But I do worship and I have some problem here. What is it? Because I worship Narada. My worship is like Lakshmi, Padmakara. So she is having lotus in her hands and she is constantly serving you. And I have a great desire to serve you. That is why I am only worried that by my performance of service, Lakshmi I would have a quarrel with me. But, oh Lord, you managed the quarrel. That was the mood. Read the purport.
The Lord is here addressed as Akhila Purushottama, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Lord of the entire creation. Purusha means the enjoyer, and Uttama means the best. There are different kinds of Purushas or enjoyers within the universe. Generally, they can be divided into three classes: those who are conditioned, those who are liberated, and those who are eternal. In Vedas, the Supreme Lord is called the Supreme Eternal of all eternals, Nitya Eternal. Both the Supreme Personality of God and the living entities are eternal. The Supreme Eternals are the Vishnu Tattva or Lord Vishnu and his expansions. So Nitya refers to the personality of Godhead beginning from Krishna to Mahavishnu, Narayan, and other expansions of Lord Krishna. As stated in the Brahma Samhita, Ramadi Tishu, there are millions and trillions of expansions of Lord Vishnu as Ram, Narsimha, and other incarnations. All of them are called eternals. The word Mukta refers to a living entities who never come within this material world. The Buddhas are those living entities who eternally within this material world. The Buddhas are struggling very hard with this material world to become free, but for material nature. One of the Muktas are already liberated. They never come to this material world. Lord Vishnu is the master of this material world, and there is no question of his material nature. Consequently, Lord Vishnu is addressed here as Purushottam, the best of all living entities, namely Vishnu Tattvas and Jiva Tattvas. It is a great offense, therefore, to compare Lord Vishnu and the Jiva Tattva or to consider them on an equal level. The Mayavadi philosophers equalize the Jivas and the Supreme Lord and consider them to be divine. But this is the greatest offense to the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu. Here, in the material world, we have practically explained that the superior person is worshipped by inferior one. Similarly, Purushottama, the greatest, the supreme personality of Lord Krishna and all Lord Vishnu is always worshipped by others. Prithu Maharaj therefore decided to engage in the service of the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu. Prithu Maharaj is considered to be an incarnation of Lord Vishnu, but he is called an Satyavis incarnation. Another significant word in this verse is Guna Layam, which refers to Vishnu as the reservoir of all transcendental qualities. The Mayavadi philosophers treat the absolute truth to be nirguna, without qualities, in accordance with impersonalistic view. But actually, the Lord is the reservoir of all good qualities. One of the most important qualities of the Lord is inclination to his devotees, which is called Bhakta Vatsala. The devotees are always very much inclined to render service unto the lotus feet of the Lord, and the Lord is also very much inclined to accept loving service from his devotees. In that exchange of service, there will be transcendental transactions which are called transcendental quality activities. Some of the transcendental qualities call of all progress absolutely to the of all progress, the result of all the species and so on. And so Maharaj desired to serve the goddess of fortune, but the desire did not be situated in the platform of goddess. The goddess of fortune is the service of light in the rest of mankind. However, the position is not just of the goddess of fortune, the position is a divine exposure in service to the feet of the Lord.
So somebody may say Prithu Maharaj had Madhurya Rasa. No, he had no Madhurya Rasa because in this verse, the 28th verse, he considers Lakshmi as Jagad Jananyam, Jagadisha, Vaisha, some mother of the universe. So Prithu Maharaj had Dasya Rasa. But he very sarcastically says, Krishna, I also serve the lotus feet of yours. Lakshmi also will serve. We won't have concentrated service. There will be competition. When there will be competition, there will be quarrel. Anyhow, just now you came and solved our quarrel between Indra. You also solved the quarrel. Anyhow, Purushottama. So you are limited qualities. So there can be harmony. Don't say that, hey, Prithu, go, let Lakshmi serve. Don't do partiality now. This time I compromised. In material compromise I've done. Okay, Indra, you take whatever you want. But when I am serving with Lakshmi, no compromise. You manage both of us together. So in this way, in devotion, there is no firing. But in a material world, there is companies, there is fire. Isn't it? You both can be managed, no problem. Jaga Jananyam Jagadishavaishasam Syadeva Yatkarmana Samihitam Karoshitlavat Abhidavatsala Swayeva Vishnyariyatasya Kimtaya. So, who is Krishna? Jagadisha. Oh, Jagadisha. Jagad Jananyam. Who is Jagad Jananyam? Lakshmi. Lakshmi, Jagad Jananyam. Vaishasam syad eva yat karmani na samihitam. It may happen that Vaishasam, anger may come here, come in her. Vaishasam syat, it may come into her, or she may become angry. For what? Yet karmani naha samihitum. I desired the same karmani, same service. Then karoshi falya pyurudina vatsala. Then what you should do? What you should do? You are generally affectionate to whom? Dina Vatsala. And not only that, Karoshi Falgapi Uru. Other quality is what? Even you small thing, Falgu, you make them very big. Isn't it? I am not bothered much about it. Sayeva Dishni Abhiratasya Kimtaya. I am totally satisfied. Kim, what is the new need? What need is there? So this verse describes how Prithu Maharaj is in competition in Lakshmi. Oh Prabhu, I know very well. I am Dina. Then what do you do? Dina Vatsala, you show affection to me. Though I am insignificant, what is your nature? Falgapi Uru. So I am not bothered. But when it comes to me and Lakshmi, you are going to favor whom? Favor me. So, no problem. No problem. So, this is the mood of the Maharaj. Take the purport and we finish for today.
Mother Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune, is very massaging the lotus feet of Lord. She is an ideal wife because she takes care of Lord. She takes care not only of his lotus feet, but of the household affairs of the Lord as well. She cooks nice foods for him, fans eats, smooths sandalwood pulp on his face and sets his bed, sitting places in the right order. In this way, she is always engaged in the service of the Lord, and there is hardly any opportunity for any other devotee to include upon his daily activities. Prithvi Maharaj was therefore almost certain that his inclusion into the service of the goddess of fortune would irritate her and cause her to become angry with him. But why should Mother Lakshmi, the mother of the universe, be angry with an insignificant deity like Prithvi Maharaj? All this was not very likely. Yet, Prithvi Maharaj, just for his personal protection, appealed to the Lord to take his part. Prithvi Maharaj was engaged in performing the ordinary Vedic rituals and sacrifices according to the karma kanda, or fruitive activities. But the Lord, being so kind and magnanimous, was ready to award Prithvi Maharaj the highest professional stage of life, namely devotional service. When a person performs Vedic rituals and sacrifices, he does so to elevate himself to the heavenly planets. No one can become qualified to go back home, back to Godhead by means of such sacrifices. But the Lord is so kind that he accepts a little insignificant service, and therefore it is stated in the Vishnu Purana that by following the principles of Varnashram Dharma, one can satisfy the Supreme Lord. When the Lord is satisfied, the performer of sacrifices is elevated to the platform of devotional service. The Maharaj therefore expected that his insignificant service to the Lord will be accepted by him as being greater than that of Lakshmi. The goddess of fortune is called Chanchala, restless, because she is very restless and is always coming and going. So, Prithvi Maharaj indicated that even though she might go away out of anger, there will be no harm for Lord Vishnu, because he is self-sufficient and could do anything and everything without the help of Lakshmi. For example, when Garbhadaksha Vishnu devoured Lord Brahma from his navel, he did not take any help from Lakshmi. He was just sitting by him and massaging his lotus feet. Generally, if a son is to be begotten, the husband impregnates the wife, and in due course of time, the son is born. But in the case of Lord Brahma's birth, Garbhadaksha Vishnu did not impregnate Lakshmi ji. Being self-sufficient, Lord begot Brahma from his own navel. Therefore, Prithvi Maharaj was confident that even if the goddess of fortune become angry with him, there will be no harm neither to the Lord nor to himself.
So I stop here. Tomorrow we'll meet at 10:30 and we'll finish both chapters. We'll meet tomorrow. Yes.
Pure devotees. So we hear from different devotees, like some are representing pure devotees and some are pure devotees. So although some devotees are representing pure devotees, when we hear directly from pure devotees, the consciousness changes very. I mean, the effect is more that spiritual effect.
Anybody, ultimately we are hearing from Prabhupada and representatives of Prabhupada. So the message is the same, but the effect will be different. Effect will be different according to one's realization. So you don't have to seek out pure devotees because Srila Prabhupada is a pure devotee. And and everybody is speaking according to one's realization what Prabhupada spoke. Isn't it? For example, is a bulb glowing. another bulb, maybe the 1,000 watt bulb may be there. Ultimately, everything is giving light according to its capacity. But the source is generator. So you don't have to much worry about it. When somebody told the same thing, oh, we don't have pure devotees where we can hear from. Why don't you speak? Become a pure devotee and speak. Isn't it? Okay, stop. Hare Krishna. We'll meet tomorrow.